Great to have your company for another night of Socceroos around the country on Fox Sports. I'm Adam Peacock, and with me in the studio before the Socceroos next step on this World Cup qualification process for 2022 Qatar in Chinese Taipei, I have Archie Thompson. Evening, Arch.
Archie.
Hey guys.
Archie, how you doing, buddy?
Backing up after the back
feet.
finding your feet after Saturday night, backing up after the back page. And Robbie Slater, Mark Bosnich.
Adam, Robbie, how are you?
It's a long and winding road, Robbie, and it's
Qatar.
playing in the national team, and you guys can attest to this, and us viewers watching it and finding out about all these fascinating corners of the world. It takes you to some weird and wonderful places, and the Socceroos find themselves in a place that maybe 10 years ago we wouldn't have expected an Australian national team to play.
No, that's right, and you know, we do have a bit of a history. We've played them quite a number of times over the years, but not many times. I think the last time was 2012. But it's the road we've got. And you know, I had some people asking me, why are we playing Nepal and why are we playing China? I said, because that's what you do. That's the way it is. It's the first phase of qualifying. I said, in Europe, they're playing the San Marinos, Miranmars, and so it's similar to that. So, you know, it's a job we have to get done, and I'm pretty sure we will do that this evening.
Enjoyable. So is it good in a way, Bozza, that it allows Graham Arnold to ease into the qualification process as opposed to when you guys were trying to qualify through Oceania? It was like play those teams, but then bang, it's all of a sudden all on the line.
Oh, don't worry, we had our fair share of games that you would say are the equivalent of Chinese Taipei as well. But yes, it is for that reason as well. The other reason as well that I think is very, very good is that, look, in terms of from a manager stroke coach's point of view, playing a game, regardless of who it's against, is always better than training, okay? And this is a wonderful opportunity for him to experiment, whether it be experiment with players or the way he wants to play, or, you know, let's do it this way this half, let's go like this way. This is where it's a really good opportunity for him and for his team.
Yeah, look, I think, sorry, Archie, I think what Asia has given us is it gives, and Ange Postecoglou mentioned it when he was in charge, and now Graham Arnold can do it, is you can, with these type of games, no disrespect to the opposition, but you can rotate your squad. You can play different players, and it's all about getting experience at international level.
And in camp, home and away, in different conditions. I mean, the Olympic boys get it a fair bit these days, going to here, there and everywhere. It's an experience, Arch.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been to some crazy places with the national team, but what these guys say, it's some of these players that are on fringes or not actually in that Socceroos squad get an opportunity to get a taste of not just the environment or international level, but to get a feeling of what it is to be like in camp, and sometimes what training is, because sometimes it's just as tough in camp training than you'll probably find tonight in the game, where they've got to come to terms with, and especially when we start playing some of the tougher nations.
Let's have a look at the team news then and get across it. And there's a familiar name, but not what you think it is on the Chinese Taipei first 11. It's down the bottom there. It's not who you think it is. This is not Mighty Ducks. This is young Emilio Estevez, who's winning his first cap for his adopted nation, if you want to call it that, because he's actually Canadian. He's playing in the Canadian leagues over there, but his mother is from Chinese Taipei. Now, Louis Lancaster, who is the coach, English coach, he has done what a lot of the managers have done in particular East Asia, is gone and find heritage players, as in like mothers and fathers of players, to come in and do a job for him. Probably the most credentialed player on that list is their captain, Chen Po Liang, who's a former teammate of Matthew Sporanovic at Greentown in China. He plays in the second division of China. So they're up against it, Chinese Taipei, no doubt. They're yet to get off the mark in this qualification process. However, they are playing at home, and a lot on the line for those players that you can see right there. As for the Socceroos, congratulations to Matthew Ryan. He is the 62nd man to captain the Australian men's football team, and he'll do so between the sticks with Ryan Grant, Milos Degenek. Harry Suter backs up after his goal-scoring heroics against Nepal, and Brad Smith in at left back. In front of the back four, you've got James Jego and Aaron Moy with Jackson Irvine there as well. Will Moy play as the number 10 or Irvine? We get to find out. And up front, it's Borello and Mobile, either side of Adam Taggart. So it leaves these players on the bench. So Jamie McLaren, poor guy, scores a hat-trick back to the bench, but it was always going to be that way. Adam Taggart got late into camp for the Nepal game. That's why McLaren started that one. Adam Taggart starts this one, leading scorer in the K-League this season. We'll talk a fair bit about Adam Taggart a bit later on. Mustafa Rameni, there was talk that he might have started this game. He'll start on the bench. And Aiden Rustic, who has really impressed the coaching staff by all accounts in this camp, dare say we might see some of the Dutch base winger off the bench this evening. But Big Harry gets another go. Robbie, it's a good story. I mean, scored on his debut out of nowhere. Arnie got him he saw him and brought him into an Olympic squad.
Yeah, just likes what he saw. And obviously for us, we're discovering Harry, and he's probably a chance to get another goal tonight. And but we're going to have to see him at defending, if you want to put it like that, because we had all the ball against Nepal. That was an own goal, which he was very close to getting another one at the end as well. He might have had a hat-trick, Harry Suter. But, stating the obvious, second highest Socceroo ever. Tallest, sorry, after Big Spider Kalic.
Wow.
But he was good. Look, he's good on... What impressed me against Nepal in those circumstances is that he was comfortable on the ball. But, we're going to have to see him at a different level. This is about giving him games, giving him experience. And, the tougher test will come our very next game, which will be the toughest test in the group when we play Jordan away.
Yeah. James Jago.
Yes.
So, from Melbourne Victory. Young guy's doing good things over in Austria. His first choice for his team over there, Austria Vienna, who's a big side over in Austria. Are you welcoming the fact that this guy has made the next step, obviously, in his career from when you knew him at Victory?
Yeah, I think he's had to bide his time. I mean, when you look at our midfield stocks, before he started making it into that midfield, it looked like a long way out from him. But I think his performances overseas, there was talk of him actually, because he was born or his parents are from Austria, talk of the national team coach wanting to play for Austria. So he had to almost choose, and thankfully for us, he's chosen Australia. But I just see him getting better, and in that role, we saw a little bit more of him against Korea, which was obviously a better opposition. Yeah. He held his own.
He did pretty well, didn't he?
He done very well. And look, there was even talk of him going into the championship in the UK before this actual start of the season in Austria. So he's doing some amazing things, and he deserves his spot back into his spot in that starting 11.
Looking at that midfield trio, Boss, so you've got Moy, Irvine, and Jago. There was talk about Amini, who is a technically gifted player.
Yeah.
Are you worried with the three that we've got that we are going to not continue to struggle, but it might become evident that it's taking a fair bit to break down an opposition defence?
No, I don't think so. Look, I can understand...
Eventually got there, sorry about that.
No, I understand where you're coming from, Adam. You can say, OK, with Irvine and with Jago, but they both have their own attacking qualities as well. It's just a matter of whether or not and how they're going to use them. I mean, Jackson Irvine, we know, is a very, very good at arriving in the box late. And just got to make sure as well that they get their rotations right. And what I mean by that is basically, if it means, for example, and this is where Aaron Moy comes into play, this is where he's our best player, in my opinion, but sometimes being your best player is not just what you're doing on the ball, it's sometimes what you do off the ball as well. So if he sees Jimmy Jago and Jackson Irvine going forward, which probably will happen a bit tonight, then it might be up to him just to sit for a little while. That's no problem at all. If you have great cooperation, then that shouldn't be a problem at all. But they're both, Jago and Jackson Irvine, have their own attacking qualities, which I'm sure that they'll be keen to show.
I'll keep this next question pretty simple. Robbie, were you impressed by Aaron Moy in Canberra?
I thought he played within himself. It wasn't the best game he's played for Australia. It certainly wasn't the worst. I thought that he controlled himself. Could we have seen a little bit more from Aaron Moy? Yes, but it wasn't that kind of game.
I saw him play against Spurs just before.
Yeah,
he was excellent.
The Brighton game, he was outstanding. He was making £80 million investments made by the other team. Look, decidedly second best on the field, put it that way. Arch, Aaron Moy, do you like him as... If you were a striker, would you like him close to you, or would you like him further back pinging on like those runs you used to love to make in behind defences? Would you prefer him a bit deeper?
I just prefer him on the pitch. Basically, because if he's deep, if he's high, he can deliver a pass anywhere. And I think it's just up to the defence to the attack to make those runs. But it's obviously going to be hard to make those runs in behind when defence is going to be sitting so deep and there's no space in behind. But for me, I think coming from such a high, playing against Tottenham, getting such a great result, then you're in Canberra in the poll. I mean, for me, putting on an Australian jersey didn't matter who we played against. We wanted to beat them and we wanted to beat them well. I think, you know, obviously that might have maybe didn't get the performance that we wanted to from him, just purely from the fact it'd be pretty hard to come from a Tottenham to Nepal. So, I mean, look, I'm sure we'll see a better performance from him tonight, but when the big games come, that's when he plays, and that's when your big players step up.
Matt Ryan,
Yes.
Congratulations to him.
Superb.
Huge moment for him and his family. He captains his nation. Just want to cast aside the fact that he's got the captaincy this evening. There's two other keepers in the squad. Was there the temptation maybe? And talk us through it from a keeper's point of view, playing in the Premier League, that he's playing this match, and Andrew Redmayne and Mitch Langerack are also in the squad.
Yeah, okay. Well, I admire Matty Ryan because you have to be so strong with your club managers, and I'm sure Graham Potter would be like any other club manager that both Robbie and myself had in the Premier League. And they're not massive fans of you travelling away for games that they consider to not be too important. Now, what's important for one person may not be for another. You can understand it because they're worried about your health, number one. They don't want you coming back tired. They don't want you coming back injured, especially.
And they always used to say, we pay your wages.
And they're right. Okay, they're right. So, but this is why I say why I admire Matty Ryan. He's been very strong. He wants to go. Now, once he's there, then the problem becomes Graham Arnold's. And how I say that is this. If in normal circumstances, I would say, yeah, it's you know, you're playing Nepal and Chinese Taipei, give one of the other goalkeepers an opportunity. But if he does that, if he gives that opportunity, what do you think the club coach in England's going to say? He's going to turn around and say, so you travelled all that way, right? I let you go all that way, you travelled all that way and you didn't play.
Just hanging out the buffet.
So it's another way, of the clubs to put pressure on you to say, look, you know, next time, yeah?
Don't bother.
So that's what I said to you, and I think he's been rewarded in a way with the captaincy for that as well. And I'm sure Matty Ryan deep down has got designs on being a 100-cap player. And because he started so young, I think he's got every opportunity of doing that as well. So, you know, like I said, kudos to him. But that's generally, and I know a lot of people may be sitting there sort of thinking, oh, really? But guys, I'm just saying to you this from experience and what we know. That is generally the atmosphere. It's not a disrespect to Australia in any type of way. It's everyone looking after their own patch, because the bottom line is, come Brighton's next game, right? And if he, say, throws one in the first 15 minutes, what do you think they'll be saying on the bench? Oh, yeah, no wonder. He went all the way half across the world. How do you think he's not? You know, like that's exactly what it comes what comes in.
Rock and hard play.
That's why Harry Redknapp used to always say to me, you ain't going. To meet Stan Lazaridis, and we'd be walking down towards the dressing rooms to get changed, and we'd be looking around and meet Stan, where are we going?
They're not, to be honest, from my experience, and I'm sure Robbie's probably very simple, they're not as harsh when you're playing against opposition that they consider to be. Oh, it's a big game, whatever. But when they're thinking to yourself, okay, you know, it's a game that you should you could win comfortably, then especially from a goalkeeper's perspective, you kind of get it.
Let's have a look at the Socceroos program. Indeed, the national team's program coming up. We've got the Under-17s World Cup, but I'm talking about players that are on the cusp of playing for the Socceroos or indeed playing for the Socceroos. So the Olyroos and the Socceroos. We've got Jordan and the Socceroos, that's in November, that's away in Amman. And then January, we've got the Olympic qualifiers in Thailand. The under-23s are over there. The Socceroos play Kuwait and Nepal, the return legs, if you like, in March 2020. And then the final stages of this second round of AFC qualifiers, Chinese Taipei and Jordan, here in Australia. And then the Copa America, we'll find out in December if we're playing in Argentina or Colombia. So, big decision there.
Big decision.
For Australian fans who might be travelling and going to enjoy themselves over there. And then the Tokyo Olympics, should we make it, fingers crossed we do, in late July, early August. So it's a stacked schedule.
Superb.
Arch. A lot of games, a lot of opportunities for players to impress not only the management, but club bosses around the world, especially if you make, say, And Olympic Games to put yourself in the shop.
Well, those dates really stand out for me. Is the Olympic qualifiers because it's an opportunity for some of these younger guys to get into an Olympics.
And we haven't been there since Beijing.
Yeah, exactly. And then Copa America
100%.
Against quality opposition.
100%,
And that's when you're going to test yourself.
Yeah.
And that's when these players that are on fringes or that part of this get a real taste of what it's like to play at international level.
And fans get a real taste of what it's really like in South America.
If you go on a public
congratulations to whoever's been responsible for getting us into the Copa America.
Yeah.
I mean, that is absolutely fantastic for our sport.
Us and Qatar have been invited to the 2020 Copa America. Let's check the odds for this match, which is coming up this evening, Australia v Chinese Taipei. Bill Baxter at 365.
Thank you, Adam. In tonight's international, the market sees smooth sailing for the Socceroos, and after their convincing win on Thursday night, they'll start as short-priced favourites at $1.03. Chinese Taipei has been largely friendless in betting, and their rank outside is at $29, while the draw is at $17. The correct score market is wide open tonight, where Australia 4-0 is your favourite at $6, followed by Australia 3-0 at $7.50, with Australia 2-0 up next at $11, while Australia 3-1 is at $19. And in the half-time, full-time market, Australia head at the half and at full-time is your favourite at $1.14, followed by Draw Australia at $5.50, with Draw up next at unlikely $23. For a longer look at those markets and a whole lot more, go to bet365.com.au and please gamble responsibly.
Thank you, Bill. We're off to a short break here. Live Socceroos around the corner from Chinese Taipei. We'll have a closer look at our opposition this evening, learn more about them. Also, take a trip down memory lane. Not only the last time we played Chinese Taipei, when someone on the panel scored against them or tried to score against them, and indeed the time that the person on the panel next to me scored 13 goals against opposition we were expected to beat. We're going to get the full story about that.
Every goal, minute by second, every goal.
So stick around, plenty to come on this pre-game. We're back in a moment in the studio.
The Socceroos are on their way to another big win in the East Asian Cup qualification tournament. The Aussies are facing Taiwan in Hong Kong and chalked up 5 goals before half-time. Let's take a look.
The Socceroos knew they needed to win by 5 goals to qualify after North Korea's earlier result.
Richie Garcia, and the opening goal is for the Socceroos.
A brilliant volley from Scott Jamieson allowed Robert Cornthwaite to add the second 7 minutes later, before Newcastle Jets youngster Adam Taggart was gifted his first Socceroos goal.
They won't come simpler than that.
The 19-year-old didn't have to wait long for his second.
The free header, no flag, the goal stands.
And the Aussies had the 5 they needed inside 35 minutes. But Western Sydney young gun Aaron Moy gave the keeper no chance.
Fabulous. The pick of the bunch this evening.
Archie Thompson had more than half an hour to try and become the Socceroos' greatest ever goal scorer, but there was only one more to come, and it was a first own goal by an Australian opponent in 8 years. Brenton Speed, Fox Sports News.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Socceroos about to play Chinese Taipei again. That was the last time we played them. That was in the East Asian Cup qualifiers in 2012 in Hong Kong, 8-0. We won the trophy. And Archie Thompson, was that the trophy or was that something?
Was that a kettlebell?
No, well, there was probably 10 people there, so I just thought I'd replicate.
What was it?
Probably lifting a wheel. Well, it was actually the Golden Boot Award
you won
for
the
the
Golden
extra
Boot?
stuff. But they counted it wrong, and then because I was on the field with it and celebrating with it, they came up to me and said, "Oh, look, Mr. Thompson, do you mind handing that back? Because we didn't get the count right." So I had to hand back the trophy. And yeah, but yeah,
Wow.
so that's what you're getting.
That's what you get, mate. That's what you get when you're a goal scorer. That's what happens. That's what happens. Super.
To be fair, Adam Taggart's come a fair way since then. He's been over to Fulham, he's come back, he's now going over to Korea. He starts tonight. Is he our first choice striker, with all due respect to Jamie McLaren, who did what he did against Nepal the other night, Robbie?
I don't think so yet. I don't think you can say that yet. He's doing terrific in Korea. And to be brutally honest, we've known, and you go back to that time, and we just showed those 2 goals he got against Chinese Taipei all those years ago, 2012. He's a player that's never really fulfilled his potential for me, and he's just starting to do it now. So hopefully he can translate that from what he's doing in Korea in the K-League, which is a very strong league, and bring that to the Socceroos. He's got a wonderful occasion, as Jamie McLaren did against Nepal. Jamie McLaren took his chance, got a hat-trick, but would I say that Adam is the number one at the moment? I don't think you can say that. I think they're pretty even. He's certainly in the mix. There's not 10 of them.
He was been player of the week in the K-League a couple of times. He was the player of July. He scored 16 goals, and he's actually playing in the FA Cup final there at the start of November, which will get his club Suwon into the Champions League if they succeed in that. They haven't had a great year in the league, but Adam Taggart certainly has had a great year in the league. Archie, one to you, mentioned before the break about your world record, the 13 goals against poor old American Samoa, but it's...
You got the golden boot that game, so,
It's along the reference point of, as a striker, how do you approach these games, knowing that, with all due respect to Chinese Taipei tonight, you are going to have chances to score. So how do you approach it?
Well, look, it's your job. It's it's to represent your country. It doesn't matter your opposition. You want to win, and you want to win well, and you want to perform well, and you want to score goals because that's your job. And your manager's going to look at you and go, okay, well, yes, he's scoring goals. He's hungry. And I look at this opposition. I mean, there was some quality out there in our team. I mean, Mori, Vidmar. Popovic, I think, was even there. So these guys were playing at the top level, and we still wanted to keep scoring and scoring and scoring. And I think that's the mentality you've got to have going into these games, because they are going to be difficult. And as much as people laugh at whatever the result is and what you scored, but the fact is you're playing for Australia.
Yeah, and when you're doing it.
And you're enjoying it, and you're scoring goals, and you're possibly going to a World Cup. So I think that's everything.
Is it true for the next Socceroos game you were dropped?
Yeah. Well,
after scoring 13 goals.
It happens to us all. It happened to McLaren. He scored a hat-trick. He's on the bench. It's just the way that managers work these days.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's rotation politics. Anyway, Chinese Taipei, let's learn a little more about Chinese Taipei, our opponents for the Socceroos this evening. They are ranked 129 in the world, which is 24th in the AFC. It's in between Sudan and Rwanda on the world rankings for those interested. Their recent results, not overly fantastic. You get a form line through Nepal, beaten 2-0 in that one. They were actually beaten by the Solomon Islands earlier this year in March. They gave Jordan, though, a huge fright there, 2-1. And Jordan, we know their quality, especially we found out the hard way at the Asian Cup. Will Donkin, he's not in the starting 11 this evening, unless they've naturalised his name, but Emilio Estevez is, of course. But yeah, it's a fascinating place, Chinese Taipei. I won't go into the geopolitics of it all, but they're known as Taiwan within Chinese Taipei, but not internationally through sporting sense, because there's issues with China, and it goes back to the Communist Revolution of 1949, which we won't get into right now.
Bozza would probably be a bit of an expert.
No.
Not touching that one with a barge pole.
No, we're here to talk about football.
We will talk about football. So the Nepal result, does that give anyone a form line, or are these games hard to kind of weigh
that
up
gives you a form line in respect to they've won.
Yeah.
And that gives confidence, and it gives confidence
Nepal
in the group. Yeah, well, this game for Chinese Taipei was a disaster because they were expected to beat Nepal and they didn't. So, you know, you're obviously coming up against a team low in confidence.
Absolutely. And it's a weird group because Jordan and Kuwait drew the other day, so that actually helps the Socceroos. You've got to finish top. You can qualify through the next runner-up, but really it's about taking care of business for the Socceroos.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, correct. And they will do that. There you go.
Simple as
Simple as that. Yeah.
Simple as that. Awen Bill.
That's true.
Gets his chance back to the Socceroos. Fantastic to see him get another chance. He was one of the really good stories from an Asian Cup, which didn't quite go to plan for the Socceroos, Archie. But this kid, if he gets a run of games, especially in this shirt, he could be one of our next stars.
Yeah, definitely. And this is what we want for from our strikers, is that unpredictability that I talk about from a striker's point of view, is that, you know, when he attacks players, defenders don't know which way he's going, and that's what you want from your strikers. We want X factors, especially up there, because I feel like we haven't had one for a while. I'm really impressed with Borrello. Like, I'm a big fan of his.
I like Borrello as well.
His athleticism, his
and what
his
he's
speed
doing in the Bundesliga.
In the Bundesliga, like, amazing. And the way that he makes his runs, he just looks powerful. And but look, Mabil, again, another guy that's doing really well. in Europe. I think their club's right up the top, Michelin.
Yeah,
and he's playing each week and he's scoring goals. So that's what you want from your strikers. But I love what we're starting to produce up in that front third.
Well, let's hear from the manager of the Australian national men's football team, the Socceroos, Graham Arnold.
Yeah, we prepared for our own standards, and we worked extremely hard in the game against Nepal last Thursday night in Australia. We've travelled great over to Taipei, and the people have been wonderful to us. The boys are trained well, they're fit, they're fresh, they're healthy, and they're ready to go.
It's an opportunity, a rare opportunity for you guys to be here in Taiwan. What impressed you the most? The weather, the food, the people? Is there anything?
No, look, the people have been fantastic, so friendly and so helpful, and we're at a beautiful hotel, and as I said, everything has been great. It's been so far so good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're great ambassadors, the Socceroos, wherever they go. They make friends and take the experiences with them as well. We're off to a quick break. Kick-off not too far away, the Socceroos' next step on the road to Qatar. See you soon. Welcome back. Some fans of Suwon have made the journey over from Korea over to Chinese Taipei and the city of Kaohsiung for Adam Taggart, basically, to support him. And not a huge crowd expected in the National Stadium, 55,000-seater stadium, powered by solar panels. Solar panels everywhere, apparently. It's technologically advanced, this joint. Hopefully the pitch is okay. We're yet to see.
That means the lights are going to go out.
No, it doesn't. It's fine. It's very warm over there. There's a lot of sun. Archie Thompson, thoughts,
Yes.
and what do you want from the Socceroos?
Just a good performance, and you expect them to win. So I'm just expecting to win. I'm not going to put a score line on it. It doesn't matter. Just need to win.
Yeah, exactly what Archie said.
Win.
Yeah, win for Australia.
Win and win well. So it's the third step on a very long and winding road to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. We are ready. There's big Harry Suter about to go out again for the Socceroos, and Matt Ryan, as mentioned earlier in the pre-game, captaining his country, the 62nd man to captain the Socceroos. Congratulations to him. The home side just making their way out now. The Socceroos are ready to go. So without further ado, we'll hand over to our match commentators this evening. Good evening to Andy Harper and Simon Hill.
Yeah, very good evening to you as well, Adam. Well, on the surface, there shouldn't be too much to worry the Australians in Kaohsiung this evening. Chinese Taipei, ranked 129 in the world by FIFA, have won just one of their last 18 World Cup qualifiers. By contrast, Australia have lost just one of their last 20. But as with Nepal and Canberra, the Socceroos must be focused, not feckless, concentrated, not complacent, as they navigate these relatively calm second round waters. Of course, they used to be regular foes back in the day, but Australia haven't played here since an Olympic Games qualifier all the way back in 1987. They did meet in an East Asian Cup qualifier in 2012 in Hong Kong, though. Australia won by 8-0 that particular evening. Big Harry Suter, about 2 or 3 times the size of some of the mascots that are being led out by the players. Great occasion for them. And for Chinese Taipei, a real chance for them to test themselves against one of Asia's big boys. The other game in the group, which is Group B, is Jordan against Nepal. You'd expect the Nashama, the brave of Jordan, to win that one. But in Kaohsiung, it's all about the Socceroos and being professional tonight and getting the 3 points, which everybody expects. Great occasion for Matty Ryan, as mentioned already, leading his country out for the very first time. And Adam Taggart, I can tell you, has got a bit of a fan club here tonight. Some of his club supporters from the Suwon Blue Wings have flown over. They've got a few banners and shirts of Adams to hang in the stands. And you'll probably be able to pick them out quite easily. A very sparse crowd at this 55,000 capacity venue. So the team's out on what looks like a rather bumpy surface. And as they line up, we will take a pause for the two national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Australia. 各位先生、女士们，请起立。现在播放澳洲国歌。And now, the Olympic brand song of Chinese Taipei. 现在播放中华台北奥会会歌。
So step 3 on the road to Qatar 2022 for the Australians. And this is the 14th time these two nations have met. Australia have won 12 of the previous 13. Just the one draw that did come in a World Cup qualifier here in Chinese Taipei all the way back in 1981. They are an improving team. Actually defeated Bahrain and Singapore. Chinese Taipei in the Asian Cup qualifiers fell just short of making the finals by a single point. That would have been their first finals since all the way back in 1968. And there's our referee tonight, Pekstri Mongkolchai, who is from Thailand. Warm temperatures during the day, touching 30 degrees, but it has cooled down to around 21 or 22. As I say, that's a big question. Might be against the quality of the pitch. I know it's been mown twice and watered. The Australians weren't particularly happy with it. Here's the Chinese Taipei team. They hand a debut to Canadian-born Emilio Estevez, born to a Spanish mum and a Spanish dad, I should say, and a Taiwanese mum. An attacking midfielder who once trialled at Levante in Spain. Chu Unlei is the Chinese name given to Onur Dogan, a Turk naturalised in 2014. The team's best players are, man on screen there on the left, the captain, Chen Po-Liang, who plays for Zhejiang Greentown on the Chinese mainland, and striker Chen Hao-wei, who plays in Hong Kong with Eastern. 6 changes from the Australian 11 that started against Nepal. Deganek, Taggart, Jego, Mobile, all given starts, along with Brad Smith at left back. And Branda Borello is a late inclusion thanks to Matt Leckie suffering a hamstring injury. Musti Amini may have been considered, but he's got a minor knee problem. Captain, as mentioned already, is Matt Ryan for the first time, the 62nd player to lead his country. All the officials from Thailand this evening, led by Mr. Mongkol Cho. There's Louis Lancaster, the 38-year-old Englishman from Barking, coach of Chinese Taipei, who played semi-pro for Welwyn Garden City before coaching the Portsmouth and Watford youth teams. He took over from Gary White as the national coach after 2 years as his number 2. And Graham Arnold was part of the last Aussie team to play here in 1987. He scored twice in a 3-0 win that all but took the Olyroos to the 1988 Olympics. And he netted a double in the return in Canberra, just to make sure. So Chinese Taipei get the ball rolling, the third leg of Australia's long road to Qatar, and one that should again be relatively straightforward, so long as they maintain their professionalism. Andy Harper?
Yeah, g'day Simon. Well, I'm not so concerned about the players not maintaining professionalism. I thought they were very disciplined a couple of days ago against Nepal, but tonight the story is about goals, goals, goals. When they look around the Confederation and they see their equals like the Korea Republic toweling up Cambodia 14-0, they must start thinking, well, that's the level we've got to hit. We've got to put these smaller nations away. The 3 points, of course, is the first port of call. Let's see how they go tonight on that front.
South Korea weren't able to score in their qualifier earlier on today, though. The big derby in Pyongyang against North Korea ended goalless. Maybe best for all concerned. As for Chinese Taipei, they are bottom of Group B at the moment, lost both their games, including last time out against Nepal. Their goalkeeper Pan Wenche, beaten twice. He's lost 15 kilograms to get himself in shape. Gary White told him he was packing a bit too much timber, the previous coach. And he's had his hair cut as well, because the previous coach wondered whether he could actually see the ball. His hair was that long.
Well, it's a decent mop. I reckon he probably shed about 12 kilos by cutting that.
Here's Aaron Moy. Miloš Deganek restored to the heart of the defence alongside Harry Suter, Brad Smith. Rare sighting in Australian colours for him. Now, of course, with the Seattle Sounders in Major League Soccer, only on loan, which does expire from his Premier League side Bournemouth next month. Indications are he might fancy staying. And expect this to be the pattern. Australia seeing an awful lot of the ball, just looking to probe and break down the last ranks of the Chinese Taipei defence, although they do like to play an attacking brand of football when given the opportunity. But tonight, of course, they're up against a rather different level of opposition.
Well, dropping 5 men across midfield ostensibly. The number 10.
Daisy, Ryan Grant. Ball like a bar of soap there from the throw.
Chen Hao-wei, the number 10, will like to push forward. Very talented player, but he's been deployed wide on the right of a 5-man midfield. Certainly looking to pack the back half of the field. Chinese Taipei.
Intervention there by Wang Ri, the number 2. Plays in Hong Kong for Yun Long, one of 6 overseas-based players in Chinese Taipei squad. Deganek trying to go cross-field, not for the first time. Intervention from Chen Yiwei. Miloš Deganek, seen plenty of the ball in the early stages. to Harry Suter. Australia will have to be patient. Mix things up, which Suter is trying to do by going long crossfield for Mabil. Here is that talented Chinese Taipei player, Chen Hao-wei. Good win in the air by Degenek. Aaron Moy. Grant pushing forward down the right. Rather loose ball from Moy. Out it goes off Sen Yi-wei. James Jago. Degenek. Again, it's not the best release from the Red Star Belgrade defender, but they turned it over immediately and have Chinese Taipei through Chen Ting-yang. Moy assessing the options. Grant never shy to push forward, and he'll claim the game's first corner.
Well, patient opening 5 minutes for the Socceroos. Really interesting in the opening exchange to see how deep Jimmy Jago is to start Australia's play. And when they first set up across halfway, there's 5 Australian players pretty much in a line, the 2 centre halves, Jimmy Jago and the 2 fullbacks.
Well, Harry Suter's up there. Decent header on goal by Degenek, and it's a pretty good stop as well from Pan Wen-che. Nicely floated in by Moy.
Degenek, look how free he is on the edge of the 6-yard box. Ghosted in completely unmarked. Nice tip over by keeper Pan.
Moy gets a second go. Similar sort of area, and Degenek again, this time at the back post. Couldn't steer his effort goalwards. Well, the ball's been like a magnet for Miloš Degenek in these opening 5 or so minutes, Andy.
Well, did very well in the first corner. Should have scored from the second one, really. Led off the home team.
Credit to Pan for the first save. Could be a busy man tonight. Chinese Taipei finally over halfway, but only briefly. Brad Smith. Jago picking out Ryan Grant. Just got away from Borrello. And Grant's beaten in the air by Sen Yi-wei. It's a very neat feat from Wen Chi-hao. Home crowd, as sparse as it is, like that. Here's another one of the overseas brigade. Plays in China League One for Beijing BSU. Smith. I want Mabil. Did he get a touch? No.
Well, that was better from the Socceroos. Red Smith looking to join in. Short passes up the side. Here's the first chance from Miloš Degenek, forcing very good work from keeper Pan Wen-che in the Chinese Taipei goal.
Plays for the locally based Tatung club, owned by an electronics company. And he is a good goalkeeper. The Jordanian coach Vital Borkelmans, that we remember for the Asian Cup, called his performance in his team's 2-1 win against Chinese Taipei incredible. made a whole string of very good saves. Talking of Jordan, of course, they are Australia's next and probably most difficult test in this second round in November, particularly away from home. Jackson Irvine. Nabil's touch wasn't the surest. Gets a bit fortunate there to get the throw of Tsen Hao-wei. Jego. Again, Ryan Grant has sneaked away from the left fullback. Cross didn't have any great quality. Wang Ri with the header clear. Now Tsen Hao-wei. Listen to the little ripple of excitement when Chinese Taipei get on the ball. Tsen Ting Yang. That's a useful looking ball, but Matt Ryan read it superbly. Advantage played. There was a foul on Ryan Grant. Brad Smith just having a stretch and not able to control it as a result.
Just not quite finding their range generally. A couple of times they've got in behind nicely. Jego to Ryan Grant. But with this packed Chinese Taipei formation, 4 across the back and 5 midfielders, Graham Arnold is clearly setting the team up, Simon, so that players can arrive later into the box, and particularly looking to direct the ball and the traffic into the middle as much as he can to suck the Chinese Taipei players in towards the middle and free up those corridors. Now I've just got to get the pass right.
I dare say Matt Ryan's going to have one of his quieter nights. Just had the one shot on target to field. Relatively routine it was as well against Nepal in Canberra. Here's Grant. That's a better ball in. There's the opening goal. Adam Taggart with his first in 6 years for the Socceroos, and 7 years since he scored 2 of his previous 3 against the same opposition, Chinese Taipei. The ball in was a beauty from Grant, and Taggart did the rest.
Well, this is the business. Nice and patient. Get the player wide in time to face forward. The quality of the delivery is premium, and it's exactly what we get from Ryan Grant. Nicely timed run, and a brave header, stooping. You must say, from Adam Taggart. Really nice goal from the Socceroos. Polished finish from Taggart, and a brave effort to boot.
Well, that will please his fan club from Suwon in the stands. And Adam Taggart will probably feel he was due that goal. He had a couple of chances against Kuwait. Didn't feature, of course, against Nepal. And now you venture to suggest, Andy, there's real competition for that number 9 spot, with Jamie McLaren having bagged a hat-trick, of course, against the Nepalese in Canberra. Which is a very nice problem for Graham Arnold to have.
Yeah, well, you know, these games against Nepal, most recently, and tonight against Chinese Taipei, even this early in, are not the ultimate tests that the players are going to face, but all you can do as a selected member of the team is put your chances away. Taggart wasn't able to do it. A couple of good chances in his previous start, but that was a really good finish.
Here's Grant again. That one's going to bounce away from him. Adam Taggart's last international goal was against China at the East Asian Cup back in 2013. But he was brave to get on the end of Grant's cross Inch-perfect delivery it was too. Not that we've seen it on that replay, unfortunately. This is Wen Chi Hao. Sen Hao Wei. They neatly work the triangle. It's good football. Sen Hao Wei. Back through Sen Wei Shen. That's better. Sen Yu Wei. Encouragement for Chinese Taipei. And a corner.
Well, like a lot of teams from the region, these players, if they get a chance to pass the ball, will demonstrate that they're very, very comfortable in possession. And that was a good passage of play, moving upfield. Outmanoeuvring the Socceroos, winning the corner.
Now what can they do with it? Wen Chi Hao to deliver. Might not get too many opportunities like this. In towards the near post, and they did get a flick on from the central defender, Sen Wei Shen. Nobody on hand at the back post.
Well, Matty Ryan, when that ball got flicked on at the first post, I don't know if I've seen Matty Ryan's head turn quicker just to see where that ball was going. That was a nervous millisecond for the Socceroos. Did have Chu Wen Le on or about the 6-yard line of the 6-yard box, but he didn't react, and it would have, if he did, been an open goal into which to head the ball.
Prescient reminder to Australia not to take their foot off the gas. Moore's pass was deflected. Borello's not going to be quick enough to track it down. It is a good mop, isn't it? It's like he should have been in Tears for Fears back in the 80s.
Or maybe he leads a revival band.
Jimmy Jagger. Moy. Grant's always available. Degenek. Smith, first time ball, opened it up for Awamobile. Chinese Taipei had numbers back. Back they come again. Touched by Taggart. Brad Smith looking to steal in behind, but the goalkeeper narrowed the angle.
Well, I like the way the Socceroos improvised. Once a couple of deflections or mishits had kicked into the move, improvised well. Awamobile hasn't been able to really find his feet yet, and that was a little bit heavier than expected from Taggart, but nice improvisation to get Brad Smith through. Just couldn't quite run it down.
Small crowd, but the drums making for quite a noise. And the locals encouraged by that chance that the home team had from the corner. Here's Smith. Mobile, oh, it's lovely. Brad Smith, across, should be a second. Easy as you like for Adam Taggart. He's got a brace against Chinese Taipei for the second time in his international career. And Australia are 2 clear.
Well, this is the tail end of a really good move. Lovely work, combination between Smith and Mabil. And the difference already tonight, we've had 2 quality deliveries into the box and 2 goals for Taggart. Well, that was a really smart piece of play from the Socceroos down the left-hand side of the field. Jackson Irvine involved, the crucial combination of Smith and Mabil, and Adam Taggart there for the tap-in. Good stuff.
Well, not 20 minutes played, and Adam Taggart is on a hat-trick. It's Canberra all over again for Australia's main striker. Last week it was McLaren. Tonight it's Taggart. Here's Wen Chi Hao inside the Australian penalty area. Lofting it over the head of Ryan. Sen Hao-Wei. Jockeying for position with Smith. Oh, he just got it wrong. He's retrieved the situation well, though. Sen Hao-Wei. Lifted into the box. Cleared away by Ryan Grant. And the bouncing ball caught Mabil in 2 minds. And it's back with that man, Sen Hao-Wei again. Slung into the box. Oh, what a goal! A stunning header from Sen Yi-Wei. And Chinese Taipei are on the board. That simply tore it to the net. What a header.
Well, Socceroos have been warned just on a couple of occasions. A really sloppy defence. Mabil, firstly, not just to not put enough pressure on the ball, but initially when he had a chance to get the ball away for danger, didn't do so. Very, very sloppy from the Socceroos. And Matt Ryan left exposed. Ryan Grant beaten in the challenge, and Sen Yi-Wei with a bullet header.
Well, Australia stung by a man that prior to tonight has scored just once in 58 internationals. He'll remember that one for the rest of his days. That was a beauty.
Well, tipping the scales. Or the height measure more.
Hang on, could be another chance here brewing for Australia, not quite.
More the point at 1.75 metres. I mean, that's a goal that just, not only a goal that shouldn't be scored, that's a chance that shouldn't be conceded from the Socceroos.
It all came about due to a bit of indecision, didn't it, from Mabil. Bouncing ball just catching him asleep at the wheel momentarily, and Australia paid the price, a heavy one. I'm not sure anyone was expecting that tonight. Here's the man of the moment, Sen Yi-Wei. Plays for the Thai Power Club in the Taiwanese Football Premier League. And a man who 4 years ago was the victim of internet trolls for an error he made against Vietnam. Wasn't the most popular man in this part of the world. I imagine the response might be a bit different tonight. Here's Borrello weaving his way through. Smith has taken up a good position, but can't link up with Taggart.
First bit of action for Brandon Borrello. And true to form, very lively on the ball, and it was a decent option. Cleverly executed, the ball over the top for Brad Smith, who didn't particularly have an answer.
Let's have another look at the goal. It's worth watching.
It was a beautiful cross. Matty Ryan can do nothing with that. Of course, this was the second cross in the sequence, so the ball came down from the left-hand side with some nice interplay. In the middle of it all was Chen Po Liang. Sen Hao-wei down the left, and the ball swings over to the right. They backed it up with another beautiful offering, and Sen Hao-wei with the goal, just a beauty, really. Against this calibre of opposition, that is going to be headline news.
Australia trying to regather themselves. It's not the sort of delivery that Adam Taggart thrives on from Degenek. Chested down by Smith. Mabil. Foul by Wen Chi Hao. That goal spoils Australia's hopes of keeping 3 straight clean sheets in away World Cup qualifiers for the first time in 10 years. Let's see if they can restore their 2-goal buffer here. Smith runs over it. Moy's delivery, looking for Harry Sutar, but Wang Ri spotted the danger. Louis Lancaster will be delighted with that goal, but he'll want his team to keep that margin as close as they possibly can. Moy with the corner after the free kick. Fisted away by the goalkeeper. Back in by Jago. Pops out for Smith. Disguised ball by Moy. Mabil to fire it in. Goalkeeper's there again. Very brave. Under pressure from big Harry Sutar. And he's been clocked fair and square by the Fleetwood Town defender.
Well, dangerous cross from Mabil. Very brave goalkeeping. Good commitment to the ball and a firm punch clearance. And Suter was there, entitled to go for the ball.
Teasing delivery, wasn't it?
The contact was with the goalkeeper's arm, and as soon as he felt that contact, he knew he was able to stop the game. Landed heavily, but there'll be no expectation, thankfully, of serious injury here.
I think it might have been Sutar's trailing arm that connected with the head of Pan Wen-che. But you're right, Andy, fully entitled to go for the ball. Got a goal on debut. Might even be claiming 2, but I think most people would view it as an own goal against Nepal. Here it is from a different angle. Yeah, that trailing arm just connects with the head of the goalkeeper. A little dazed and confused, doesn't he? They'll want him to continue. He's impressed in these early stages. One very fine save from Miloš Degenek and a couple of brave sorties to the edge of his 6-yard box to punch away a couple of dangerous balls. He'll be okay. But it's right that they take the time to allow him to recover.
And of course, extra dispensation given to the goalkeeper because, well, they're a special breed.
Big goalkeeping gloves as well. They look like boxing gloves. I don't think I've ever seen gloves that thick. Especially for punching, perhaps. Jago threads the needle for Mabil. Chen Tingyang just really dangled out a leg at it. Jago's ball into the box. Goalkeeper's all right now, that's for sure. Dan's beating Chu Enlei, who, as mentioned at the start, is more commonly known by his Turkish birth name of Onur Dogan. He married a Taiwanese lady, that's why he got citizenship. Here's a chance potentially for Borrello. Oh dear. First touch was heavy and the goalkeeper's been clattered again. And Chinese Taipei are not happy about that at all. And they're urging the referee from Thailand to take action. You can hear the voice of Louis Lancaster on our effects microphone. Thoughts, Andy?
Well, it was a heavy touch from Borrello, and then it was just momentum. We know Brandon well. I mean, there's no way he had the goalkeeper in his crosshairs and thought, I'm going to take him out here. Just heavy touch from him. He tried to redress the situation. He got there clearly second best. A yellow card is a fair outcome, but there was nothing sinister in it.
Brandon Borrello into the book. Got the late call up today after Matt Leckie pulled out with a hamstring problem. But it was the touch that
very heavy, and he
caused the problem.
Plus, he gets a little bit of a nudge from.
Well, you know, I don't know whether that's as innocent as it.
Well, look at the nudge.
First.
That puts him. No, that's he's pushed him.
I don't know. Anyway, you're right. A booking's the fair outcome out of all of that.
Well, Hong has knocked him off balance. I don't know where he's supposed to go. He was thundering in, trying to fix the situation. Problem was his bad touch, and then it compromised he and certainly the goalkeeper, who's been down to the standard 8 count a couple of times.
That's why he's wearing the boxing gloves. He's had one to the ribs, one to the chin.
As Brandon Borrello was steaming through, I bet you he was wishing he had that extra 15 kilos on.
Mobile. The margin is just the one goal. We played over half an hour. It's safe to say, Andy, although Australia have by and large controlled the game as we expected them to do, Graham Arnold won't be especially satisfied with the way this has gone.
No, but he'll be very calm about the assessment. Still, obviously, 15 minutes to go till half time, and
that's a better touch from Borrello. Behind Grantis Moy. Borrello again. Degenek. Smith. Goalkeeper's ball. Moy nipping in ahead of the Chinese Taipei captain, Chen Ho-Liang, who actually apologised at the team press conference yesterday. He's getting divorced at the moment. It's been all over the social media networks and caused a bit of disruption in the build-up for the home team. So he took the opportunity at the presser yesterday to apologise to his teammates. Moy. Grant's made a typical darting run diagonally, nods it back, should be a goal here. It is. It's Jackson Irvine who gets the reward for some good performances of late. He might have scored a couple against Kuwait, had chances against Nepal. He's back one now, and it's 3-1 Australia.
Well, look at Jackson Irvine just hovering in that space. Difficult for him as a number 10 or attacking midfielder to get involved much in the build-up, but he's lurked with intent. He's got a great instinct to make the forward run, and as that diagonal ball heads over for Ryan Grant, the Sydney FC fullback deals with it beautifully. So too does Jackson Irvine. Nice control, good finish, and a very well-deserved goal, you'd have to say, over the opening 3 games or 2.5 of World Cup qualifying for Jackson.
Just his 4th goal at international level, 33rd cap tonight, and 2 assists already for Ryan Grant. Just as they had against Nepal and Canberra, Australia have scored 3 first-half goals. Maybe on for a 4th here. Smith fed by Mobile. They queue up in the middle. It's over the goalkeeper. Ryan Grant fancying his chances of maybe getting in on the scoring action. Well, instead it's a corner.
Much more efficient in attack away from home than they did a few days ago at home. Although it's not an entirely fair thing to say the first half was a decent performance compared.
Moy's corner.
With the second. This first half has been good from the Socceroos with the ball.
Ten minutes of the first half to run. The 2 fullbacks have claimed all the assists between them. I know it was part of Graham Arnold's pre-game plan to get them in behind. They've certainly done that, as that one is cleared by Tsen Wei Chen. Well, our apologies. The camera was away from that action, which is unforgivable, really. Jackson Irvine has a second goal in the space of 2 minutes, and Australia have extended their lead by 4 goals to 1. We'll have a replay of it in just a moment. Here we go.
Well, Jego to Jackson Irvine, and this was the leader. Jackson Irvine appreciated the offering from Jimmy Jego.
Well, the first international brace for Jackson Irvine. I can only reiterate our apologies that you haven't seen it in full as yet. Hopefully at some stage we will get a replay of that. We are totally dependent, of course, on the local TV cameras. And what is clear is that Australia lead 4-1. After that early scare, thanks to Sen Yiwei. Here is Tsen Po Liang, the captain. Here we go. Lovely ball by Owen Mobile, and Jackson Irvine really couldn't miss, and he didn't.
Arrived nicely, real strength of his game, and huge turnaround from Thursday night with the quality of the delivery into the penalty area from the Socceroos in this opening 38 minutes.
So 2 for Taggart, 2 for Irvine. Australia a bit more comfortable now. Mobile. Moy. Helped on by Borrello towards Grant. He's being shadowed by Hung Tu Kwei. Moy. See what he was trying to do, just find that little corridor of space for Irvine.
And given Australia's pinpointing of the diagonal ball, particularly to Ryan Grant, but certainly when the opportunity comes the other way, Louis Lancaster might be well advised to switch from 5 across midfield to 5 across the back. Just deploy 2 people defensively in the wide positions and kill that space. Invite the Socceroos to try and play through you in the middle if they're good enough. They're not coping at all with those angled balls over the back.
I know that tactical analysis that Australia did point towards the fact that the wingers cheated a little bit. Didn't always track back and cover those spaces. And they made it a point to try and exploit that, and they've certainly done so. Push the fullbacks forward, and the result is 3 assists between Ryan Grant and Brad Smith. Smith for Mobile. That's a well-timed challenge by Wang Ri, which draws good applause from the gallery. Unfortunately, his attempted clearance has come off his own man, Sen Hao Wei. Smith. Mobile. Moy assessing the options. A little touch into the path of Taggart, but not quite deft enough to find the Suwon Blue Wing striker. Interested in your thoughts on Brad Smith. Harps on loan with Seattle, as mentioned, missed the World Cup with injury, not picked for the Asian Cup in January. But now perhaps providing real competition for Aziz Bayic. Let's just see how this develops, potentially for Awer Mobile. It's a weak clearance from Wang Ri. Moy. Mobile. Here is Smith, Jago. Angled run from Borrello is not accurate enough.
Well, Brad Smith's done well, and I think in this opening half, his combination with Awer Mobile has been outstanding, really. Awer has missed a couple of passes and maybe exposed in transition Australia's left-hand side, but that's a minor issue. It hasn't been a consistent problem. I think the two of them have combined really well, and they've obviously been working in the lead up to this game, getting that key pass in behind the defence. But more important than that for me is that there's been real polish on the delivery into the penalty area. Makes so much difference.
It's a death ball through from Aramoy. Australia will get a corner off Sen Polyak. Chance for Harry Sutar to make his way forward again. Irvine handy in the air as well. Moy's delivery, a little bit too flat. Steered away by Tsen Ting Yang. Borrello. Moy again. Grant has darted in behind. Chance here. Hat-trick for Taggart, perhaps. But the flag is up, and it doesn't count. That final effort from Awer Mobile. Well, those runs of Ryan Grant have not been tracked well at all by the Chinese Taipei defence. Just caught ball watching.
And it's been the story. It was a line ball call.
Yeah, it was Grant offside, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ryan Grant called for offside. And a line ball call. Might easily have gone the way of Australia.
Maybe time for one more before the break. Awer Mobile. Almost got it back from Jackson Irvine, not quite. Chinese Taipei spring forward, Sen Hao Wei, but Miloš Degenek across to cover. Mabil. Jego. Back by Grant for Suter. Moy. Mabil. Grant again was willing to try and break that line down the right-hand side. And then says, no, give me a breather. So it made it sway out towards that right-hand side. "30 seconds of the first half to run, plus stoppages." There's Irvine, Smith, Taggart waiting.
Well, good defence in the end from Quang Ray. Soccer is very patient. Don't underestimate the conservation of energy mantra as well. Hot and humid, the guys out of Europe.
Moy goes along the fall from the corner for Smith. It's too deep, even for somebody of the size of Harry Suter. 3 minutes to be added. Your assessment of this first half performance by Australia, Andy?
Well, the goal aside that they conceded, because that was very sloppy defending. It was a good half, good goals. The quality of the movement to score the goals has been the most impressive thing for me. Not just the four, but really clean execution. Planned for build-ups, I'm sure, and the combinations have worked well, and crucially, you just have to keep making the point. Quality in the delivery.
That's neatly done, though, by Chinese Taipei. I fancy their chances of a second here. Emilio Estevez, barely mentioned his name so far on debut, and that's a foul by Chu Enlei. Eager to get involved. A man born in the Dardanelles of Turkey.
Well, he's very much the lone pine up front, the Chinese Taipei.
Mabil. It's a return off Irvine. Taggart will reel it in. Put it a bit wide of Mabil, but he gets there. Looking to return the compliment, but it's just a touch heavy for Taggart.
It's been a good half generally for Awi Mabil, but a couple of moments he's just lacked a bit of polish, unlike him.
Good to see Louis Lancaster enjoying the occasion. Says part of his brief tonight is not just to try and beat Australia. He knows that's a long shot, but to try and attract more people to the game of football in a country where baseball really is still the #1, and you can see that by the scarce numbers in the stands. Not quite sure what that was from Sen Poliang. Final play of the first half. Check of the watch from Mr. Monkolchai. And that'll do us. Well, an intriguing first 45, a brace apiece for Adam Taggart and Jackson Irvine, but Louis Lancaster will be heartened by the fact that they got one back, Chinese Taipei, through Tsen Yiwei. Graham Arnold has to calibrate all of that in his halftime team talk at the interval in Kaohsiung. the scoreline reading. Chinese Taipei 1, Australia 4.
A couple of tense moments for the Socceroos in that first half in Chinese Taipei. However, a healthy advantage restored before the break, and we'll be talking about those moments after the break with Archie Thompson, Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich. You're watching live World Cup qualifiers on Fox Sports. Back in a moment. A few tense moments for the Socceroos in that first half in Chinese Taipei, the southern city of Kaohsiung, but in the end, a little bit of class prevailing and pulled away at the halftime break 4-1. Keeper knows he's been in the game. Big Harry Suter throwing himself about up front. Welcome back to the studio. A halftime chat around with Robbie Slater, Mark Bosnich and Archie Thompson. Archie,
yes.
You first. What did you make of that?
Look, I thought the Socceroos took a while to get into their stride. That was due to the fact that Taipei, Chinese Taipei?
Chinese Taipei, that's it.
Set up beautifully, didn't allow much to go forward. And that goal that they scored, I actually jumped up and cheered because we weren't expecting much from them, and I don't think they were expecting much, but they really made it difficult for the Socceroos. But then quality prevailed, and Moy started getting on the ball a lot better, and his quality of passing was brilliant. And we talked before the game, you said, where would you like him on? And I said, just on the field, and you could see his range of pass, even from deep to look for balls in behind, which Ryan was making, and even his balls playing right up close in that 18-yard box was superb.
If Adam Taggart's first goal was scored in the A-League, I'm not sure it would have counted.
No, if there was VAR, it certainly wouldn't have. But luckily for us, and unluckily for Chinese Taipei, that doesn't. There is no.
Tight, but
no, he's clearly ahead. I think. When you see from the other replay, if we get that, he was ahead. Here you go. There he goes. So
just but quality finish.
Super.
Yeah, it was great ball in. Brave header because the goalkeeper's is coming out. But look on the play, and I think when you look at the Socceroos in this first half, for me it's always you can tell how they're going by the position of the fullbacks. And if you see towards the end, from midway through the first half, I mean, Brad Smith and Ryan Grant were like wingers. So that tells you that, you're dominating totally. They did get a super goal, there's no doubt, but it was a one-off. And we were surprised by that, but I think the rotation, the movement of the Socceroos has been very, very good.
Before we get to the home side's goal, Bozza, the second goal, so that means when the fullbacks are high, what do the wingers then have to do? Because Owen Mabil was involved in this one.
Well, it depends where your fullbacks are. If your fullbacks are hugging the touchline, you get your wingers pretty much into that position, there or into the pockets, which is between the 6-yard box and the edge of the box. But I agree with Robbie, what he said in terms of the way that the Socceroos have been playing. It's always very, very difficult. If we had more time in the pre-match, we're going to talk about how difficult it is to break down a low defensive block, if you want to call that. But I think they've done very well with it. It's 4 goals to 1 tells the story. Great goal by Chinese Taipei. Archer's exactly right. It was a fantastic goal.
Well, here it is now. Beautiful ball from Chen Hao-wei.
But the header was unexpected.
Yi-Wei Chen, the header was fantastic. And I know, look, and you speak to some people in football, they'll say, when you conceded a goal, it's always someone's mistake. But I'm always of the belief that sometimes in football, you just got to hold your hands up and say, look, there's not much we could have done about that. I know if you wanted to be really picky, you could have said Ryan Grant, but I'm sure if anyone was in Ryan Grant's position, I don't think he would have anticipated. You pretty much have to anticipate that in that type of situation. That was a wonderful cross and a thunderous header.
Yeah, it was Chen Ting-Yang who said it, the fullback. It was fantastic moment for Chinese Taipei. Then you thought, guys, is this going to get a little difficult, or did we always feel about comfortable that things like Jackson Irvine's third and fourth goal were going to happen? Yeah,
well, we always knew that quality was going to shine through, and what these guys said, I mean, when you see the fullbacks pushing up, I think there was an instance in that first half where Brad Smith actually crossed and Ryan was on the end of it. Ryan Grant. So, I mean, that just shows that the intent they showed after that, copying that first goal. But this is where Moy, I love seeing him in this area. And then there's runs deep, late runs deep.
So, Robbie, this is Moy and Jego to an extent as well, trying to link up with these fullbacks and diagonals to just open up what's in front of them.
Yeah, and they did it well. And these diagonal balls, were very effective. Very effective. And one thing you have to compliment, probably we didn't see it against Nepal. We had quite a few hopeful balls into the box. I think the delivery's been pretty good. We could have had a couple of more goals quite easily. But the way Moy, I think, sort of said, OK, I'm going to now take this game by the scruff of the neck. I want the ball all the time.
Well, this one.
Yeah, and you look at him.
Himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's enjoying himself because, he's one of those players, Moy, when he gets in this sort of mood, he looks like he's got so much time in the ball. But that's because of his quality of where he is, how he moves with the ball. And he's deceptively... Sometimes you look at Moy and you think, he's not that quick, but I think he's deceptive. And Ned Zelic used to be like that. Yeah. Ned Zelic used to glide and you think, he's not that quick, but...
And Ned Zelic was lightning.
And he was lightning. So
he was the quickest over any distance, I think, beneath 100 metres at the AIS back in the day, Ned.
Stats. Fourth goal, the phantom goal almost. We almost missed.
Well, someone did miss it. I hope Harry Michaels wasn't in.
It was
camera six would have been sacked on the spot.
The old NSL director. But no, this is the goal that eventually we got round to seeing the replay of. Simple stuff from Jackson Irvine, who's enjoying making those late runs into the box.
Yeah, he was. And like Robbie said, overall, the delivery has been quite good. There was a couple that you sort of thought to yourself, oh, I think there was one from Brad Smith towards the end that went a bit far and all that. Yeah. In general, it's been really good. And when you whip balls in like that in the danger area, forget about, okay, we scored pretty much direct from it, but there's always an opportunity. The goalkeeper goes for it or drops down and all that. And when you do get into those positions, if you cannot, cut the ball back to somebody in the better position, once you start whipping that ball in between the goalkeeper and the last line, there's always an opportunity.
Their keeper's having a fun night.
Well, he made a fantastic save right at the start. But the poor thing, he's copped a few whacks, hasn't he? Yeah. I mean, this one was... this happens. I thought it was very brave from him. He done really, really well. The second one, well...
Imagine running into Harry Suter.
Yeah, not really. Yeah.
I'd rather run into a telegraph pole.
Well, that's pretty much what it'd be like. Hey?
Yeah, that's...
very brave.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Absolutely. Is that the hardest thing to do when a cross is coming over and you've got someone coming towards your boss?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this one was a bit, well, let's say...
Unfortunate.
Agricultural. I think it was it Borrello?
Yeah. Well, he got pushed into him by the defender.
All right, yeah, okay.
Didn't help.
But, yeah.
I think you see the reaction of Borrello. As you said, he got pushed into it, took it on the chin, didn't he, his yellow card? He probably thought, well, I probably deserved that for the touch I had.
Fair enough. We're off to a short break. The second half, not too far away. We see by how far the Socceroos can go on with things in Chinese Taipei. Back in a moment. Welcome back. The substitute Socceroos warming up on the pitch in Kaohsiung. Archie Thompson?
Yes.
Out of the gentlemen out there going through their calisthenics and the like.
The what? Who? Calisthenics?
Oh, spell it now. No, not tonight. It's not a spelling bee. Archie, who would you like to see out there?
Rustic. I'd like to see. Yeah, I'd like to see him get a go. Yeah, just because I'd like to see what we have out wide and up front because I think that's where we need it.
Good technique. You look good against Nepal. Yep. I think Amini might come on.
Yep.
How long more, you think?
Another 10 minutes.
Another 10 minutes. 60th minute, maybe.
Okay.
I think the Brighton Hove Albion coaching staff are hoping that the 10 minutes go.
Well, they do have a voodoo Dolavani and pennies in it all the time.
Let's get back to our match commentators for the second half with the Socceroos in command, 4-1 over Chinese Taipei. It's back to Andy Harper and Simon Hill.
Yeah, thanks very much, Adam. I'll throw another name into the mix, Andy Harper. Demi Petratos, slight call-up, of course, due to the injury to Mas Luongo. He's one of the few that we haven't seen in this little mini-series against Nepal and now Chinese Taipei.
No complaints, and I still wait for Yanu Apostolos to get some more game time.
Yeah, well, he did come off the bench against Nepal. In terms of the game, it's been pretty much as we expected. Not just the scoreline, but 70% possession for the Australians. 6 shots, decent conversion rate with the 4 goals. The Chinese Taipei and their supporters have had something to cheer about at least. They scored from their only shot on goal. Barring a miracle, it will be another Australian win, which will make it 8 unbeaten in World Cup qualifiers. For the home fans, at least they've had the pleasure of seeing their team score their first ever home goal against the Australians. He's been a busy man, hasn't he, Pan Wan-che? Looks to be okay after suffering a couple of big whacks in the first half from Sutar and Borrello. And Australia get us going again in the second half and showing their intent by playing the ball forward and not backwards straight from the kickoff. Aaron Moy has been the conductor, really. It's a more advanced midfield role, and you'd expect more of the same second half.
Well, it's
with respect to Chinese Taipei,
sure,
probably a question of how many it's going to be. Offside against Mabil.
Well, the second halves have been problems, too strong a word, but the Socceroos in the opening 2 qualifiers have certainly dropped in the second half as far as output's concerned, and it will be a step forward if they don't repeat that here tonight. They went into the first 2 breaks against Kuwait and then Nepal with 3 goals in their pocket. Tonight they've gone in with 4, and good goals too. Really pleasing to watch.
Yeah, I concur with that, particularly the delivery from the flanks. From the 2 fullbacks in particular, they've been pretty good.
Where Mabil has stepped over the line for that throw-in, and they've taken it off and given it to the home team.
Not often you see the foul throws penalised. Eagle-eyed linesman. This is Hong Soo-kway. And they're attacking with purpose here, Chinese Taipei. Jago stepping across. Denying Emilio Estevez. Deganek. Brad Smith hugging the touchline. Jago. Oh, it's a lovely touch by Irvine. Borrello with the cutback. Taggart on for a hat-trick, of course. It spins up for Mabil, but he just couldn't quite convert. Adam Taggart saw the headlines tomorrow morning. Desperate to equal Jamie McLaren's tally against Nepal. Now at the other end, a chance for Chinese Taipei. Thrown a few numbers forward for this free kick. Decent delivery, and it's a free header, and it should have been a second goal for Chinese Taipei. It's Wang Ri who spurned the opportunity, and where was the marking?
Well, it was a beautifully flighted free kick, and it looked for all money as though he was going to head that one in, Wang Ri. He has been impressive tonight. The Australian defence prone from that set piece, concerning for Graham Arnold.
Against better opposition, you fancy that would have been back to 4-2. This is Moy. Mabil. Mabil went early. Good save down low by the keeper, still alive for Australia. It's over the head of Irvine, and Mabil has another lash at it.
Well, here's the free kick. Questions have been line ball, onside, offside, nevertheless.
Linesman didn't flag.
No, slightly overran it as well. That's what probably undid him in the end, but a good chance created by Chinese Taipei.
Chu and Lee leaning all over Degenek. Just the odd moments, aren't they, that will irritate Graham Arnold. Just perhaps a lack of concentration.
Yeah, that's what it is. And look, that was one of the things about which I praised the team after Thursday, and there's massive gulf in class between the teams. I think the Socceroos maintained their discipline well, can easily turn to custard when you're not under pressure and you're making easy way up the field. I think the negative was that.
Here's Mabil, it's breakaway, Irvine.
And it was the lack of polish in the front third, but generally they kept their discipline well. And it's not a complete reverse tonight, but two poor pieces of defending, which speaks of a lack of discipline, but much more polish in possession, particularly in the final third. Some really pleasing developments there.
Swings and roundabouts, eh? Irvine leaving that one short for Brad Smith. Final touch off Moy. Aaron Moy is impressed again in that midfield role. Moy was another one of the scorers in that 8-0 win over Chinese Taipei back in 2012. Right at the outset of his international career, Matt Ryan was in goal that day as well, I think. Moy trying to pick his way through, but couldn't do so. And now Chu Enlei gets the better of Degenek. Smith is quickly back in position. It's an intelligent switch of play to pick out Hung Soo Khae. And the fullback's good enough to take it back as well. Gets the return off Emilio Estevez. Gets the foul. Looked a little soft against Borrello, but referee saw enough in it. Estevez plays in the Canadian Premier League for the York 9 club. New competition, that, just a couple of years old. As is the Taiwan Professional Football League. Been going for just 2 seasons after the former competition closed its doors. It's a risky ball by the goalkeeper. Wang Ri, Chu Enlei. Decent football, Sen Po Liang to sweep it out towards his left-hand side. Towards Hung Soo Khae. Emilio Estevez on the turn. Well, they forced the opportunity. And the home crowd appreciating that at the very least.
He's enjoying himself, Estevez, on debut. Really growing into the contest. They've had a decent slice of possession, Chinese Taipei, in the second half.
Very much the coach's mantra is have a go. Previous coach Gary White was a little bit more defensively minded. Looked as though it came off the arm of Suter. Referee happy enough. Now he'll blow his whistle for the foul on Jago. Suter. Borello. Australia making measured progress. Going to sling it out to Smith on the left. Mobile. Trying to get clear of Wen Chi Hao. Misses out Moy. Now it's with the Brighton and Hove Albion midfielder. Flip forwards. Mobile offside again.
Well, even though he looks like he's only in second gear, maybe he is, Aaron Moy, but he's got the entire picture in his mind. Ball comes and he already knows how he's going to try and pick something apart. Just love watching him play. So deliberate, very difficult to dispossess.
Estevez. Throw in Chinese Taipei. Or is it? Yeah, thought so. Estevez, much more of the ball in the second half. Bit of a miss kick by Moy, found its way through to Taggart inadvertently. Tied it up by Sen Wei Chen. It's clever play by Wen Chi Hao, who's one of Chinese Taipei's better players. Might have a hit here. Decent try from Chen Po Liang, the captain.
The ball over the top for the clever Wen Chi Hao. He did the business on Harry Suter.
Chen Po Liang is captain for good reason. Still plays in China, of course, with Zhejiang Greentown, but also had a stint with arguably the more famous Shanghai Shenhua a few years ago in the Chinese Super League. There's 3 chances Chinese Taipei have had in the second half. Is that pattern starting to re-emerge for Australia? Here's Borello trying to change things. Slips it through for Irvine. Lovely touch by Mobile. Smith. This will be a wonderful goal, but Irvine can't finish and claim a hat-trick. Lovely build-up play.
Well, apart from the goal, everything that's been good about this Socceroos performance tonight on show here. When they get moving, the one-touch passing, particularly the combination between Mobile and Brad Smith has been a highlight. And again, Jackson Irvine arriving late in the box. Nice goal that would have been. Very good build-up from Australia. That would have been Jackson Irvine's hat-trick. Should have been Jackson Irvine's hat-trick.
Still plenty of time for him to get it. Ditto Taggart is chasing this one down. Corner ball. Doesn't look overly happy, does he, Arnie? Then he doesn't normally. Chinese Taipei have got a bit of a problem over their captain, Chen Po Liang. to be struggling a little bit. Hamstring, my lip reading's correct. He was his nation's youngest ever captain. It's the most caps, most goals for his country. See if they give him a couple of minutes to try and recover. Taking his time to get off. Moy waits to deliver the corner. Angle towards Sutaro, did get there. The bouncing ball did graze the crossbar, but it took a touch from the goalkeeper on the way through. A corner again from the opposite side. There is that change for Chinese Taipei. Wu Yanshu is going to replace the captain, and Musti Amini is going to come on shortly for Australia. Even though there were reports of a bit of a knee problem for Musti in the build-up. Maybe just twanged that hamstring when having that shot some minutes ago. So on comes Wu Yanshu. Just 19 years of age for his third cap. So Moy's second corner, and Sutar meets it again. Bounce did for Adam Taggart. Possibly the worst angle ever to see the scoreboard, so we know which number's coming off. It's Aaron Moy. Very good performance.
Again.
Mustafa Amini getting his first touch in early, just his 8th cap tonight. Certainly a regular, of course, for his club side. Aarhus in Denmark, where he's captain. Barello's done well. Had it already crossed the line. Taggart got a bit of a whack. He's got a bit to say. Sutar penalised. He's rather frustrated by that decision. Last free kick that Chinese Taipei had from this sort of range created a very good chance. Maybe that's why Australia got the high defensive line. See if they can catch their opponents offside. Wenchi Howe's ball and Matt Ryan's claim. Prodigious leap from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, well read, and of course with so many Chinese Taipei players up for the free kick, he looked for the quick release, a rare moment potentially for the Socceroos to get players in space in the whole of the second half of the field, or their attacking half. Normal service resumed now. Socceroos will have to move their way upfield through the massed ranks of the Chinese Taipei defence.
Morello trying to retrieve the situation. Committing the foul on Estevez, who's got a touch of cramp. It's a smart move, I think, by Louis Lancaster to try and dip into the diaspora. It's something that pretty much every national coach does these days, Graham Arnold included.
Yeah.
Video of Estevez. Had that trial at Levante in Spain. He's got a Spanish passport thanks to his father. Here's his debut, about to end up with a trip back to the dressing room on the stretcher. I thought it was just cramp initially, but maybe it's a bit more serious than that. So they're readying Li Shangwei to come on in place of the debutant. That's a lovely ball and beautifully controlled by Wen Chi Hao. Runs into Mustafa Amini. That was diligent defensive work by the substitute. The return ball for him wasn't the best. And then a handball against Jackson Irvine.
Well, we've seen plenty of occasions tonight how individually talented some of these Chinese Taipei players are. Wen Chi Hao has done.
This kid is very good.
Very, very well.
And I know you love this, Harps, because you're fond of these.
He's the Chinese Taipei.
Modric.
How do they work these out?
There's always one.
They roll up a piece of paper and put them in a barrel. And you pick one out, and that's your European or South American, your superstar lookalike. But in his own right, he's a capable player.
He is.
He's caused Australia a couple of little worries tonight, taking this free kick now.
Again, that's high line from Australia. Chu Unleo hasn't had an awful lot of service. Want to cause a bit of mischief. All about the delivery from Wen Chi Hao. Which wasn't the best. After we gave him the big build-up, the Taiwanese Modric.
Which is, of course, why we did it. Just to put the knocker on that free kick.
Australia going to make their second change. Brandon Morello to be replaced by Aiden Hrustic. And Estevez is also confirmed as having permanently left the scene. And his replacement has a very interesting backstory. A young guy called Will Donkin, who was born in Oxford to a Taiwanese mother, went to Eton College, former Chelsea Crystal Palace junior, and is known as the Donut Boy in Chinese Taipei because Donkin translates to donuts in the local language. Here he is on the ball.
The Duncan variety.
And you can hear how much they love him already. Deganek tidying up.
And I wonder if his alma mater is cheering for him, the chorus being led by Boris Johnson, of course, an old Etonian.
Please. Don't mention his name in my presence. Cramp for Wen Chi Hao. Chinese Taipei players starting to feel the strain a little bit. Another change. Here is Li Shangwei, who we thought was going to replace Estevez. He is on now. About to enter the last 20 minutes. Australia haven't added to their half-time tally. Rustic trying to busy himself. The Shang Wei with his first involvement, which is a pretty tidy one. Sun Wei Chen trying to burrow his way through and got the full brunt of Mustafa Amini coming through the other way. Amini couldn't reach it. Here's Donkin. Now playing in Norway for Stabæk. He lost his footing. It's clever play by Ryan Grant. And cool play by Rustic, and Australia can move upfield. Smith for Mobile. Degenek. Amini. Grant. Not his best ball of the night, Ryan Grant for Rustic. Off the chest of Degenek. Jago to sweep it out left for Smith. Amini. Again, everybody behind the ball for Chinese Taipei. Australia trying to be patient. Amini spotted the run. Picked out his man pretty well. Brad Smith. Mobile back for Jago. Angle it in towards Taggart or Irvine. Ryan Grant gets a bit of a nudge off Donkin. Ends in a handshake. He'll have learned that at Eton College, of course.
If he turned up at the ground in his top hat and tails. Is that a lifetime habit they get them into?
I wouldn't know, Hobbs. Being from Manchester. Rustic. That's a decent ball, and Australia do have their fifth goal, and it's Harry Suter. 2 in 2 for the big defender. Proving to be quite a weapon for Graham Arnold in attack.
Well, off the head of Suter, onto the head of Wang, who's got a really difficult job here, and into the back of the net. Keeper throws himself to the near post, but can do nothing about it.
Well, we took one off him against Nepal. I'm not sure we'll take that one off him.
Oh no, clear goal for him.
He'll have a few stories to tell, only when he goes back to Fleetwood. Australia have finally broken through in the second half. Suter again. His more usual defensive role. Quarter of an hour to play. Scoreline says 4-1. We are pretty sure it's 5. Amini. There we go. The caption has caught up. Suter in ahead of Chu and Lei again. Taggart offside this time.
He might have left that one alone, Adam Taggart. Aidan Rustic was alive to the possibility.
Having a little pep drink on the sideline. Taggart. Scorer of 16 goals. Adam Taggart for his club side in Korea. Although he's without one in a while for Suwon. So no doubt happy to get those 2 first half goals for his country tonight. Mobile's touch. Smith driving forward, strong of course physically. The cutback, Taggart waiting. And blasted by Mustafa Amini. Fancied a hit. A little bit wayward in the end.
Well, again, the feature, to me, the best feature of the Australian team tonight was the combination between Smith and Mobile. And again, they linked up here, and great power from Brad Smith to make the crossing chance in the end.
Senwei Chen is the latest to be struggling with a bit of a problem, cramp. Or is it something else?
No, it's they're dropping like flies. Actually, this is the 3rd Chinese Taipei player to come a cropper with cramp. 2 have already been substituted. Still 15 minutes or so to go. The door wide open for Australia. This dogged resistance from Chinese Taipei.
Australia going to make another change, their 3rd, and it's going to be like for like. Jamie McLaren for Adam Taggart, a brace for Taggart tonight. McLaren, of course, got a treble against Nepal. Your assessment of Adam Taggart?
Yeah, good goals, good goals. He stuck around, it wasn't a feeding frenzy for him, so he did well with what came his way. Is this a statement about Apoyanu as well?
He got minutes against Nepal, didn't he, Apostolos-Yana? But won't do tonight. Of course, you'd probably say, longer term, Tommy Juric still not out of the picture either. He's just moved to Bulgaria. Not involved in this particular squad. So some options there for Graham Arnold.
Rogic and Arzani to be re-included at some point, you'd expect.
Yep. Not to mention Trent Sainsbury in the defensive line. Mas Luongo. Socceroos building depth.
He's playing on the right, just the bottom of the pitch. Rustic looking to get in behind now. He's obviously a left-footed player. I just wonder if he might be an option as well at left fullback to consider. Brad Smith's done very well tonight. It's not a comment on him. And of course, Aziz Bayic has basically been the incumbent. So there are players already being considered there. But I like the cut of his jib. He's a clever player. The little bits we've had to see of him.
And crucially, Andy plays regularly for Groningen,
Yeah.
the Netherlands. Aziz Bayic not getting a lot of game time in Turkey. Brad Smith, of course, his future a bit up in the air once his loan spell comes to an end.
And the fullbacks in Graham Arnold's team, certainly this stage of qualifying, have a very attacking brief.
Here's Irvine, scorer of 2 first-half goals. It's just beyond Mobile. And Smith unable to keep it in play.
That was nice work again. This play started by Rustic, turned nicely, very positive pass into Jackson Irvine. Yeah, who did well, and a nice ball across. The pitch didn't help on that occasion, a little bit bumpy, and it didn't move as truly as it might.
Crowd finding their voice. Sutar, the only man to find the back of the net, second half. Australia trying to pick their way through again. Certainly Ryan Grant has not had as much joy getting in behind on that right-hand side second half as he did in the first. Almost had free rein first 45. Irvine over the head of McLaren. Mobile might get there. Uses Smith as the decoy. Works it in towards Irvine, slips it through. It's lovely play. Smith, McLaren just waiting to apply the final touch, but the whistle has gone, I think, for an offside flag.
Yeah, it was offside on Smith, or whether it was or not remains to be seen, but that's the decision. Very clever play, Moy-esque from Irvine. Look at the prop, the little half turn, and he's gone offside. It's a fair call. Beautiful lead-up play from Jackson Irvine to show he's not a one-trick pony.
Continue to be impressed by Jackson Irvine at international level, not just his goals tonight, but his general play and his work rate, willingness.
Yeah, all fair points. He's a great bloke to have in your team. Really good competitor.
In a very competitive area of the pitch for Australia as well.
True, yeah.
This is Frustich. Irvine. Romini sending Milos Stegenak off for a bit of a jog, which I'm sure he appreciates in the humidity. Chinese Taipei with everybody behind the ball. Irvine, Brustich, lovely ball. McLaren, very tidy finish. Jamie McLaren continues to notch up international goals. It's his 4th in a week, and it's 6 for Australia.
Yeah, this is really good football again. Irvine setting it up. Rustic with the turn. Beautiful pass, first touch. And this camera angle doesn't show the quality of the run of Jamie McLaren, which was a darting one at an angle, perfectly timed with the finish to match.
Just peeled away from his marker beautifully, Jamie McLaren, to find that space. And the finish of a man in form for both club and country. Taipei, Chinese Taipei, all of a sudden look rather tired. Well, it's hard work, isn't it? Chasing a ball for pretty much 90 minutes. Ryan Grant. Irvine trying to play a McLaren again. Jago. Came off Wu Yanshu. Ryan Grant going down heavily. This is Chu and Lei.
Well, the time that's remaining with Chinese Taipei visibly weary. Socceroos can really put the foot down. They fancy it. And another few really good efforts on goal. There's no doubt about that if they have the intent.
Another clever ball by Rustic. Oh, Smith. And nobody was waiting at the back post. Still alive though. Mabille. Ryan Grant, they're lining up in the middle. Grant Smith, the aerial ball, not really his go. Yet to score for his country. And Louis Lancaster's team have been brave tonight. They've had their reward thanks to that wonderful first half goal. And I think if the referee blew the full-time whistle now, I don't think their coach would complain. Irvine for Mabille. Rustic and McLaren in the box. Australian corner and another case of cramp. This time
they're out on their feet.
Chen Wei Chen. Tough going for the home team late on. Rustic's corner, the outswinger, and Suter, he's got another one. Goodness me, you just can't stop big Harry Suter. And again, there was a deflection on the line, but he'll claim that one too. Make that 2 internationals and 3 goals. He's a goal machine.
Well, it's very difficult from that range. Very difficult indeed. You'd have to suggest one of the obvious reasons he's been selected for these games in particular.
I reckon he'll be saying, just give me one more set piece.
Well, Jeremy McLaren,
and then I've got a real story to take back home.
Let's see how hungry the Socceroos are to finish this one off. They're certainly pressing in numbers. The beast of Chinese Taipei is certainly wounded and limping. The Socceroos really pushing on now.
Aiden Rustic claiming an assist from the corner. Oh, Suter, don't forget to defend, Harry. Will Donkin, can he finish? Gets a second go at it. Just run out of room in the end. He gets a corner, should have been more really. And Harry Suter almost turned from hero to a bit of a villain there. Not that it would have made much difference in the final outcome. He just dallied and lost possession. Donkin's corner, easily steered away by Smith. McLaren capitalising on the mistake. Rustic had no right really to dig that out. Eventually gets whistled against. And we're into the first of 3 additional minutes. Overall, this performance, Andy?
Well, a polished first half, some very polished moments in the second half. But just the lingering notion of a second half syndrome developing over the 3 World Cup qualifiers now. And that's something to which Graham Arnold will, of course, pay due attention to. But pleasingly for the Socceroos, they've had some real polish in attack, which I think they lacked in chunks on Thursday night against Nepal in Canberra.
Jaganak across to cut that one out. Ahead of Sen Howei. Much tougher test to come next month. Away in Jordan, who of course beat Australia at the Asian Cup. Here's Will Donkin. There were just too many defenders in front of him. And I dare say Graham Arnold's pre-game comments ahead of that game in Amman might be a little bit different to the ones he uttered in the UAE back in January. Might be a little bit more circumspect.
Well, particularly when Australia has had a couple of really difficult assignments in them. That's over and above the loss in the Asian Cup in the UAE. Very difficult opponent.
Dying embers of what overall has been a pretty good night for Australia. This is Sen Howei. Forward by the goal-scoring hero, Sen Yiwei, to no great effect. Ryan Grant could do without that in the 93rd minute. Having a run and chase. Free kick for the home side, might well be the last chance. Home fans making a bit of noise, hoping that their team can jag a second goal. Chu Enlai is an obvious target. Probably the tallest of the home players. Donkin's delivery, and Ryan with an easy claim in the end. And that will do in Kaohsiung. Pretty convincing scoreline. 2 goals apiece for Adam Taggart, for Jackson Irvine, and for Harry Suter. 1 for Jamie McLaren. Louis Lancaster's team gave Australia a bit of a scare in the first half with Sen Yiwei's bullet header. But it is mission accomplished for Graham Arnold. 3 games, 3 wins. Australia easing towards the next phase of qualifying, where it will get much tougher. Final score here, though. Chinese Taipei 1, Australia 7.
Their biggest win of the campaign so far, 3 steps in. It's now an aggregate of 15 goals scored and just the 1 conceded on a beneficial night for the for and against, at the very least, against Chinese Taipei. Archie Thompson, Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich here to analyse things as we head into Wednesday morning in Australia. Just trying to weigh that up, but good win, Robbie. Imperative that they got a few more goals towards the end there, because again there was a bit of a lull in the second half.
It was a bit stale.
Job done.
the start of the second half, probably 20, 25 minutes, it was pretty stout. Socceroos looked pretty content with what they had. There wasn't too much of a threat. The ball speed was a lot slower, and then all of a sudden they got one and they accelerated a bit, and in the end got 7, which is a good return. Pretty good performance. You know, there's a lot of positives to take out of it. We're expected to win these games. We're expected to win well, and we did.
Big Harry Suter.
Yes.
He's our weapon.
He is,
Set pieces.
Yeah, well, look, you always want people to score goals all around the pitch, not just rely on strikers. And, you know, for him and his height, he's a big boy, and these are crucial, I think, sometimes in World Cup qualifiers, to be able to score in set pieces and to dominate.
Mark. He'd be awful.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. That's like me marking him right there. Like you got a 5'4", but like a 6'6". 6'6", and but yeah, he was great all night, and then McLaren comes on and scores a goal and shows just how eager he is to want to score goals.
Playing well. He's playing. If you're Melbourne City, you're over the moon with Jamie McLaren's form at the moment, Bozza.
Of course you are.
And that's how he takes it.
You want him back as soon as possible. You remember that the chance that Lockie Wales had on the weekend. You think to yourself, well, maybe if that was Jamie McLaren, that might have been a goal. But he's been fantastic. It is Big Harry again. 2 goals.
Didn't even bother jumping his opponent at that time, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good for Harry, and he'll be in the next camp, you dare say, to take on Jordan in a month's time. The strikers, Adam Taggart, overall, his performance, Robbie, assess that?
Yeah, looked pretty good. 2 quick goals for him. Would have loved a hat trick, of course, but you know, in that position, you know, a lot of the balls were out wide. It got very crowded in the penalty area. There was a couple of, you know, nearly moments for a hat trick, but all in all, pretty good.
Archie, as a striker yourself?
Yeah, great performance. It just shows in this particular goal that how badly he wants it. He's putting his body on the line. You kind of, when you're making that sort of run and you're going for that ball, you don't know where the keeper is, so you sort of pull out a little bit, but he's eager to get in front and score goals. And again, this is the combination, Smith and Nabil. I thought Nabil started a little bit slow in this match, but once they started combining well, him and Smith, he grew into the game and he looked dangerous, and a couple of beautiful little flicks that opened up the game for Smith to cross.
We'll get to Nabil in a moment, but yeah, Taggart, he now goes back to Korea, and he's got the biggest moment for, well, from a team perspective at his club Suwon in going to the FA Cup final in a couple of weeks' time. Such a successful time of it personally for him in Korea. Irvine, so the midfield operating as a 3 basically, Jego, Moy and Irvine for the majority of the evening. How did you assess all of that, Bozza?
Absolutely fine. We spoke about before the game, you said, you know, what about, you know, Jego and Irvine's attacking abilities? And I went through them and they both showed, well, Irvine showed it, he scored 2 goals. And we saw Aaron Moy sometimes take a deeper position, sometimes take the mid-range, sometimes take a more forward position. So it's absolutely fine. It must be said, and somebody actually did tweet us, you and I, Robert, actually, to say, and it's understandable, say, okay, yes, we are playing against Chinese Taipei, but all we can do here is call it as we see it, and all the boys can do out on the pitch is beat what's in front of them. Of course, the bigger tests are going to come starting next month against Jordan, and then obviously in the next round of games it will be. But that's all we can, you know, that's all we can do, and that's all they can do right here, right now.
Let's hear from Adam Taggart, another 2 goals for him this evening.
I think it was a good team performance. I thought Chinese Taipei set up very defensively, made it hard to break them down, so we were looking to get crosses in the box, especially early when they weren't set, and yeah, it worked a couple of times, and we got some good goals in there.
You guys did a pretty good job in this game. What were you seeing over the course of this game? And can you talk about the team play?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good performance all round. We dominated the game, and like I said, Chinese Taipei set up very defensively, so it was very tough to break down, and it was just important that we kept moving the ball, kept shifting them side to side to wait for gaps to open, and in the end, I think we scored 7 goals, so you know, it's a good result for us, and yeah, in tough conditions because it's very hot tonight.
Okay, glad to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
It's a good problem for Graham Arnold ahead of the Jordan game.
Yeah,
Taggart,
2 strikers in
McLaren. Look, it's been waiting for a designated number 9 for a while. We've got 2. Not saying that they're going to go to the World Cup and win the Golden Boot, but they're going in the right direction.
They are certainly going in the right direction. He's scoring goals in Korea, and for the Socceroos now, Taggart and Jamie McLaren scored a load of goals in the FFA Cup, and has taken that came on not for long tonight, took his goal, and you could see he's in form the way he took that goal. And obviously the 3 against Nepal, so got 2 strikers, gives him 2 good options, and it's up to those players to go back to their, Taggart goes to Cree, said it's a big moment for him, big time for him. Jamie comes back to the A-League, and you just continue.
Awam and Bill, his performance overall, Archie?
Yeah, like I said, I thought he started a little bit slow, but he grew into the game with that combination between him and Smith. These little flicks, lovely to watch when they come off, and the majority of the games they did. He made some great runs forward, but that's where they cut up that defence was the 2 wide guys. Ryan, not so much in the second half, but I thought Smith was outstanding with his forward runs, and you can show it tells you that he's had a lot of game time in MLS, and he's actually played the majority of the games, and you can tell from the way he's playing, the way he gets forward, and he's creating a lot of chances.
He's got a big one this weekend. He's taking on FC Dallas with Seattle Sounders in the playoffs in order to get through to the next stage of the MLS playoffs over there. Let's have a look at what's coming up then on Fox Sports as far as football goes. Plenty a stack. So we'll look ahead to that Jordan match as well. It's in the early hours of Friday, 15 November. It's a Thursday night stroke Friday morning here in Australia. Difficult place, had all kinds of problems in the past playing Jordan in Jordan. So that's the big one as far as this phase of World Cup qualification goes, because we are certainly on our way with 9 points from 9 and 15 goals for 1 against so far. But before all that, Friday evening, we start our Hyundai A-League coverage with Melbourne Victory taking on Western Sydney. A beauty from Marvel Stadium, 7 p.m. Eastern, that one on air. And then match day Saturday, it's myself, Bozza and Robbie as well in the studio, and Diamante v Bosnich, as we can see there on the screen. Who wins that?
I don't know.
Would he beat you from outside the box?
Right now, of course he would.
Western United, their first home game, taking on Perth Glory. And then after that, it's the F3 Derby. That will be a beauty from Gosford. Central Coast Mariners taking on Newcastle Jets. And then another doubleheader on Sunday. It's Melbourne City and Adelaide, the precursor, if you like, before the Cup final in a few days' time. And then Sydney FC and Wellington Phoenix, who are looking to turn things around after that tight first-up loss to Western United at home. And then next Wednesday evening, Wednesday, October 23, it's the final of the 2019 FFA Cup. We've really enjoyed bringing you the knockout stages from the round of 32 on. Adelaide United looking to go back-to-back, taking on Melbourne City. Craig Noon, one of the stars of the FFA Cup, if not the star so far, and Al Hassan Toure, the breakout star from Adelaide United, the young striker. He'll play a big part in that particular match. But that's it for us this evening. Bozza, Robbie, thanks guys.
Thanks, Robbie. Thank you so much.
And before we go, I've got to mention Movember. It's nearly Movember time, Arch, and you're up again.
Robbie, are you going to grow?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh, yes, okay,
you're going to do it?
Going to do something.
Yeah,
yes,
you'll do the running challenge.
Yes.
I think Tara's doing the running challenge. You can just
I've got the
it that way.
I've got the motor.
Yourself and Harps apparently are going to grow.
Oh, good.
Harps is going to grow it as well. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Fox Sports teaming up with the good people from Movember to raise all kinds of, money, first of all, and awareness for prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health and suicide prevention, which are huge problems left, right and centre for Australian males all around the country. So, Fox Sports getting behind that. Go to the website that's on your screen right now to support or sign up. Movember.com. Great cause. We're done for the evening. Thanks again, gents.
Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
Arch.
Cheers.
Thank you, Robbie and Boz. See you on the weekend. Thank you for your company as well. Going in the right direction, the Socceroos 3 from 3 to start this World Cup qualification campaign in the second round of the AFC qualifiers. Way too good for Chinese Taipei tonight. We pause for a month until we see the Socceroos next time. Until then, it's all about the A-League and the W League. We'll catch you soon, live on Fox Sports.
This program brought to you by BioGlan. Discover the BioGlan difference. And Genesis.